Hey guys, welcome back. Check out episode number 43. We got Brooke Robbins in the house. She's a new, inspiring, excited life coach. Check her stuff out. This is a really good episode. Get your tissues. It's a good one. That's all I'll say about that. I want to shout out Dupree Voorhees for donating to the show, for help sponsoring this episode. And hang on for this one, guys. I'm not even kidding. And watch for the future. Welcome. You're listening to the 27th Hour with Junior
and Dre Rocker.
Get ready, strap in, and hang on. Okay, we're on the right track. So you guys find the game. I don't know. Welcome back to the show. Once upon a time, a daughter complained to her father that her life was miserable and that she didn't know how she was going to make it. She was tired of fighting and struggling all the time. It seemed just as one problem was solved, another one followed. Her father was a chef, and he took her to the kitchen one day. He filled 3 pots of water and placed them on high fire. Once the 3 pots began to boil, he placed potatoes in one pot, eggs in the other, and coffee in the third. He let them sit and boil without saying a word to his daughter. The daughter moaned, impatiently waiting, wondering what he was doing. After 20 minutes, he turned off the burners. He took off the potatoes, placed them in a bowl, took out the eggs, put them in a different bowl. He grabbed the coffee and put it in a cup. Turned to her and asked, "Daughter, what do you see?" She says, "Potatoes, eggs, and coffee." She hastily replied. "Look closer," he said, and touched the potatoes. She did and noticed they were soft. He then asked her to take the egg out and break it. After pulling off the shell, she observed the hard-boiled egg. Finally, she took a sip of this coffee. It's rich. The aroma is so beautiful. It brought a smile to her face. "Father, what does this mean?" He then explained the potatoes, the eggs, and the coffee had each faced the same adversity in the boiling water. However, each one reacted differently. The potato went in hard and unrelenting, but the boiling water made it soft and weak. The egg was fragile, with a thin outer shell protecting its insides until he put it in the boiling water and it come out, and it was hard. However, the coffee was the most unique of all. After it was exposed to the boiling water, it created something totally different. "Which are you?" he asked. "When adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you the potato, the egg, or the coffee bean?" So the moral of the story, right? Life happens around us, things happen to us, but the only thing that truly matters is what happens within us. Which are you? I thought that was beautiful.
I love it. I love it.
Coffee just got better.
It did.
What's up, Brooke?
I love coffee. How you doing, Junior?
Thanks for coming.
Of course.
I'm so happy to have you.
I was so excited to be here.
I like to open the show with those little stories.
I love it.
They're cute.
I love it.
Soup for the soul, or whatever they may be. What have you.
Right.
Dude, we got a lot to talk about.
Let's go.
I'm so excited to hear, like, your life.
It's really not that exciting.
It's pretty goddamn exciting. You're on the 27th hour.
I know. That's exciting.
That's fucking exciting.
I know. I love this place. It's so cool.
Thank you.
Done good.
Have you been in here before?
No, this is my first time.
There.
I told Erica. I was like, this is so cool.
I know, you've been here a bunch. You've never come down here before. Is that
I know.
deer? Has it scared you to death yet?
No. My kids are creeped out by it, though.
Don't teach your kids those things, right?
They
Don't
think it's
be
funny.
afraid of things.
They think it's funny.
Brooke is a tattoo client of ours.
Yep.
You've been coming here. How long have you been coming here with us? Has it been?
It's been a while. It's been about a year.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. You did my
your
first one like
daughter-
in July, I
Yeah.
think.
So we formed this just friendship. It naturally happens as we tattoo, right?
Yep.
And that's why we bring you to the show. Was asked you to come on the show. Was one of our sessions. I can't remember.
Probably the last two.
It probably was. And it took a couple even.
I know.
We got into a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and I shouldn't say, I get moved by people easily everywhere, right? I'm very affected by what people are doing, and
Right.
especially if it's just when we want to soak in the good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You told me a story that like changed. I don't know, man. You have a beautiful way with words, and I was so into how you think, and I just think you're a beautiful person.
Thank you.
So I would love.
I feed off you, I think.
Well, there's a lot here, so eat up.
Right. I don't know.
There's a lot to give to people, right? And to receive and all that. And for some reason we have a really cool little vibe going on.
I love it.
So I was moved when I met you, got through that last bit of that story. When we did that, I was like, man, she is gnarly. I really, really thought the way you think is really cool, man.
Thank
so
you.
tell us where you were raised. What's your quick story there? And we'll dive into this beautiful story that we talked about.
All right, let's do it. Long story short, I grew up in like West Valley area. I did a short stint down in Gunnison. My dad's still there. Love him. But I just sold my house in Kaysville and now I'm here.
Dude, that's easy.
Yeah, easy.
Where are you at
Not
here?
rough. I'm in Clearfield.
Are you?
Yeah, and I haven't rented an apartment for so many years, and it's kind of weird to have neighbors like attached to you, but you know we're
Paper
making
thin
it.
walls.
Yeah. Terrible parents and their snotty little kids who run around like crazy.
That's a good way to learn parenting is having that going on.
Yeah,
know, right?
I told you about the sex neighbor.
Yeah,
What?
time.
Have you had the sex neighbor yet?
No, not yet. I have the neighbors who snore, and I'm like, is that my kid or is that a neighbor? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Just wait until you get the sex neighbor where that's all you hear at 3:00 in the morning. It's horrible.
You gotta rewire
I
your
want to
mind.
be that neighbor.
You need to be being that neighbor. Makes you all envious of it. Like, God damn it.
Right? Oh, geez.
What's the story there? Are you looking to, your life has just took a cool little turn.
Uh-huh.
By your hand.
Totally.
You're steering your own ship, right?
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Well, are you talking about the life coach thing?
Any of it. Just what are you up to? Brooke, what are you up to? You had a job before and you're just like, you've taken a new path.
I did. That was really crazy. And it's really hard for me stability is a big thing for me. I've been divorced twice. The first time I just wanted him to be a dad and take care of his family. And that was really hard for me because I grew up with a dad who took care of his family. Like he worked several jobs and that was just the way it was. And so I was really disappointed that wasn't the thing for me. And I just wanted my kids to have stability. Like we moved, oh my gosh, with my first husband, we moved probably like 4 or 5 times before Aiden even started kindergarten.
What did he do? Just random stuff?
Yeah, he was a pipe fitter.
Oh, okay.
So he was
Gotcha.
like, and he had a stable job, but then he just like, I don't know, he shit the bed, I guess, and just bounced around everywhere. And it was really stressful for me. And just, it wasn't a healthy marriage. He was, pretty abusive, violent, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting divorced, started working at the University of Utah in 2009. And I had been there until 2020. Same department. Like I'd progressed, as far as like what my responsibilities were and stuff. But I was just at a place where I was like, okay, I've applied for the job that I'm doing as the manager a couple times and they keep blowing me off and they're like, you don't have enough experience. You're not qualified. I was like,
doing it.
yeah, I'm doing the job. Are you shitting me right now? And so I just was like, fuck it. And I just decided to go. I was like, and I couldn't get a job anywhere inside the U because they were, cock blocking me every time I turned around. And I found out about it because somebody had said, well, we talked to the manager who's, currently kind of in charge. And she was like, you don't want her. She's mean or she's whatever, and I was just like, fuck this shit. I'm going to leave the U then. And you guys can't do that bullshit. I can put whoever I want as my manager. And then what? And so I did. And Boondocks offered me a job and I was like, let's go, man. And then COVID hits. I was like there for 3 weeks and then we shut down. I was like, what?
So it's been about a year then. That's when you, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just hit my 1 year
Gotcha.
anniversary there. It was crazy. And then I'm just like, so I'd never, like I was worried, like who does this,
Right,
and I was just like, nope, let's go, man. And so now I'm not quite as afraid as I used to be. My kids are older. I'm like,
I'm doing stuff.
they can fend for
I'm
themselves.
divorced.
Like,
I'm
it's
doing
fine.
stuff.
Yeah. Let's do this. It's been great.
So we have this session one day and we're talking up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even remember how. It was the end of everything. I'll end the story first. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I can't remember even how it actually happened, but it was, you were interested in how did the coaching thing come up where you're like, I'm interested in this. I'm like, take a picture of that thing and look into it quick, and you could probably handle it.
You brought it up to me. You're like, I think you'd be a great coach. I was like, all right.
And she called me the next day. She's like, yeah, I'm a coach now. I just, or whatever.
Yeah, that was the day with the deer. Yeah, I was like,
dude,
guess what?
I was so excited. That made me feel incredible.
That was you, man.
That made me feel great.
You should.
Because you have a gift, man. You definitely have a gift.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll get into all what you said up there. That was just powerful. The way, I'll never forget one thing you said to me that has flipped a lot of my perspective, which is easy to do, by the way. I think a lot of people think that's not true, and I'm very open to everything, but I think it's not noticed. I don't know how noticed that is, but
I think
you said to me, I don't remember the exact context of how it all went down, but what the impact of it is what I remember was, I'm the impact guy. I remember that stuff.
Right.
I need to get better at remembering the story, right?
That's why we're doing this.
And you say, I can't remember, maybe you can help me finish this, but you said, what if that was his fucking 100%?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Do you remember how that went? Do you remember how, because it's powerful if you remember the whole story. I just remember going, what'd you fucking just say? Because it changed me, bro.
It's hard to think about.
Well, do you remember what we were talking about? It's probably nonsense to even worry about it, but
I don't remember what we were talking about. But
something about, almost an entitlement thing where I'm like, God, I give my 1,000,000% to this, whoever it was, or for whatever reason. And in a weird way, you're always I'm kind of going, God, just a little bit of, did you hear any of that, man? It's kind of like, hey, man, see you later. Mm-hmm. I think it was something like that. Like, yeah, thanks for this, all my heart into this tattoo, all my heart and love and everything I got.
Yeah, I gave you 100%.
Yes, and you walk out
and
the
I
door.
want that 100% back.
Yes, dude.
Like, why can't you give me what I give you? But
opened
what
my
if you
eyes.
did? Yeah.
I'm totally being a douche about it. I was totally,
same.
I'm wanting, I'm giving, but I want back. And that's not the way it fucking works. And you said that in so many words when you're like, so he walks out the door and I'm like, God damn it. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, what if that was his very, very, very best? Thank you so much, Junior, for that tattoo ever. Dude, that fucking changed me. My whole brain went, hello.
Mm-hmm. I have to remind myself regularly.
That was powerful, man. I really respected that.
Yeah, but then it goes on to further to say, what if somebody's saying that about me? Like, I gave you 100%. Why aren't you giving me 100% back? But I gave you everything that I had. So then I have to think about that. Like, so I really have to be careful. Like,
it opened my eyes in a different way to that. Because I just do, and I always do just give. But I think I actually do want some back. I really do.
Yeah,
I think that's human nature, and I think it's okay. But I think it can get a little out of hand, and I think that's where I was at with it, and I probably still am. Wanting back. But when you said that, man, it hit me like a fucking hammer, and I was like, dude. That was beautiful. Like,
yeah, it's
thank
rough.
you.
it's rough
because it could have been his very best ever, and I took that from him, right?
Mm-hmm. And then you're like, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, that wasn't good. Now he's even not good enough, even more.
Right,
dude, that shit's hard.
I know, right?
That was really tricky for me. I was like, you have a way. You should be a coach. I think that's how it started. Yeah, because that's kind of the essence of how it works. Mm-hmm. And catching somebody that does this stuff. In that moment, real like that, there's more power there than ever. And I'm so open to admitting all that to everybody, obviously.
Right.
It's powerful to feel that. And I'm like, thank you. I appreciated that.
Of course.
So I thought that was cool, man.
That's something that I've thought about for years where I'm just like, I'm kind of an asshole.
How many of us are, though? How many of us are assholes? Hello. Hi. I'm probably running that bitch right here.
Right.
It did, man.
A lot of it is just self-awareness, right? Like, like being aware that, hey, I mean, I'm being a dick today, and I need to check it. It's funny because I had this conversation with my son a couple of days ago where I was like, he was throwing a temper tantrum, right? He was having a bad day, and I was like, son, you do know that this is like 3:00 in the afternoon. I was like, you still have time to change your day.
Right.
Right. And so I think a lot of it comes down to your self-awareness. Like, damn, am I being a dick?
Right.
Like, I do that a lot when I'm texting. Like, is this a dick response kind of thing?
Right.
Well, and how cool is it to have people in your world that you love and cherish to catch it and say, hey, man, hey, what if that's there? That's what I'm asking. That's what I respected from you and everybody in my life. Always, please say something. If you get in me, get at me, let me know, let me hear it. Because I need that check. I love it.
Well, and as a parent, like I do that to my kids all the time. And Aiden gets so mad at me. She's like, why am I the only one you have these conversations with? I'm like, because you need it more than anybody right now. Like I dropped her off at school one day when she was still going to school, and she was telling me this story about this guy whose girlfriend like totally takes advantage of him. And she was outraged, like super pissed, like steam coming out of her ears, pissed. And I was like, is this affecting you? And she's like, no. I was like, then why are you so mad? Like clearly he likes his girlfriend and he's okay with it. Otherwise she wouldn't be his girlfriend. So who cares? You know, and I have to have that conversation with her regularly. Like, who cares? Who freaking cares?
Who died? I remember that one too. Who died?
Nobody died.
Then shut up. Let's calm down. We'll start from there.
I say that all the time at work.
I know you do.
And they're like,
wait, who died? Who died? Good. Then we can fucking talk.
Right.
Calm down.
Yeah. Who's bleeding? Do I need to call the ambulance? Like, what's going on?
That's
Settle
right.
down.
Is anybody's arm hanging? Okay, we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I whipped on a girl at work the other day. I was like, easy.
Steady. You have a funny way. I love your angle, man. I really do. I think there's so much good and all people have so much good in them all the time. And I love to find like different.
Right.
I love the way we all think so differently. And when we openly can do it. And when you check me the way you did, I just know that's powerful. And I really enjoy it.
And that wasn't intentional. It was just like,
it was so real and so beautiful. And you're very tactful. You weren't bitch about it at all. You're very tactful.
I worked really hard on that.
I wonder if that was his, I don't know, if you were just secretly getting me. You got me good, though. I don't even know. Maybe I shouldn't have caught it, but I was like, whoa, dude, that was, thank you. Because you're like, right, man. And I'll admit that. I'd love to learn, man. And I was like, dude, I'd come out fucking weird, even though I didn't even mean anything by it, you know? But
no,
hey, I do. I think I want more back than I actually.
I'm guilty of the same thing.
Hell with it, right? I think that's healthy to do that. That's why I was really intrigued by the way you're able to walk in and out of that so easily. You have a really cool way that you gracefully do that. And it's not, I'm very abrasive or I'm very blunt. I'm very, whoa, okay, we know he's here, right? It seems that you're very tactful. You do it smoothly.
My mom used to tell me that all the time. She's like, you can tell people to fuck off and have them be like, okay.
Got it.
Sure. Whatever you want.
Where do we go?
Right? Like,
wait, do I love you? Yeah, just get all up in their head. I know, man. I felt that when I was working with you, man. You have a very calm way about you. I was very intrigued by the way you think. You told me a story up there.
Told you a lot of stories.
I love to talk to you. You're a very eloquent speaker. The way you put things together was really cool for me. And I remember hearing your story. Not everybody can tell a story that well. I definitely can. Hell, I can barely read if you listen to me, right?
You did good.
But it's interesting to listen to the way you talk, right? So how did we get into that story? How did your brother and the band, how did that all happen? Something about the way you grew up and all that. How did that all go?
I don't remember exactly. I know it all started when so we met because you've done a lot of work for Paul.
Yeah.
And I had been looking for a new tattoo guy. And I actually came here with Aiden because she was going to do the whole stick and poke thing. And I was like, here's the deal. I'm willing to get a tattoo, or I'm willing to let you get a tattoo if you get a matching tattoo with me. So we went to your apprentice at the time. Yeah. And at Paul's like, oh, you should go to this guy. He's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I hadn't had a tattoo done in like 20 years. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, sure. I'm looking for somebody, like whatever. Reference is, better than just like going to some shop off the street. So we go in, we get that done. And then I was like, I have plans to get this other one done. And so I came in and I told you, like, this is what I want. And you're like, do you have a font or anything? And I was like, nope. And I told you what it was. It's my little brother's name who passed away in 2017. And that's how we met. And that's kind of forged our connection. And so that's what we were talking about is him. And
okay, that's what brought it up then.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's how we got started all in that. And then we were talking about the deer and all that crazy ass bullshit.
How can you put back together for the world how we did that story?
Sure.
How does it start? How did you just, it was incredible.
Right. So, I mean, I can talk about my brother for days and days and days.
I love your brother very much.
He was my best friend. He was a soulmate. When you think about a soulmate, you think about your significant other. but you don't think about a sibling. And
I'm warning everybody right now to get tissues. Just fucking get a box of tissues.
Right.
Fair warning.
Right. I'll be bawling like a baby.
Continue.
So he absolutely was my soulmate. We had there are 3 siblings in my sibling group, from my mom and my dad. I'm the oldest and he's the youngest, and there's one in the middle. And like I've always just kind of taken care of him. Like he's always been my buddy. He's super tender, quiet, just doesn't want to fight with anybody. Just such a good kid. And he and I, when our parents got divorced, they split us up, which is not normal. They usually try to keep kids together. But they separated us. So the brother in the middle stayed with my dad, and Kevin and I went with my mom. And so she was working full time. She was doing school and stuff. And so it was just the 2 of us all the time. And he used to get picked on quite a bit. He's a little ginger and, just an easy mark. And I just kind of became like a mother to him and just pretty much raised him, just the 2 of us. And we just became tight, and he lived with me off and on as an adult. Like he was a second dad to my kids. Like he would take them to, like dads and donuts at school and stuff. And him and Aiden just thought that was the coolest thing ever. So he was really kind of a big deal in my life. And he got sick. And when he passed away, that was the worst day of my life. I've been through divorces. My kids have had crazy shit happen to them. My parents were divorced. Like I've had a lot of shit happen, but that was by far the worst day of my life. And I can't explain to you the void that I felt immediately. And I didn't realize how much it impacted me until after the fact. Like I watched my parents sobbing hysterically, begging for their son. I watched my dad try to give the doctors, beg the doctors, please let me give him my liver. Let me give him my kidneys. And watching them hold their dead son and just cry and just curse God. And, why did you do this to me? And trying to hold it together to be their rock during that time. It was really, really hard. And then I don't know, I was so broken after that happened because part of me is gone, I can't explain it. There's just this empty void there where if I didn't have the kids, I for sure don't know how I would have made it. I can't even imagine, it's terrible to lose somebody like that.
I can't imagine going through it, period.
It was rough.
I don't get it, man.
And it was so fast.
You guys are strong. What we talked about, so your brother got sick and he passed away, and the story got even more cool from there.
Are you talking about the deer?
I'm talking about the deer. I'm talking about the room. Tell me the room story when you told me that story about when he called and said.
Yeah. Oh, so spirits used to follow Kevin around.
Because he was so into who he was, right? He was so powerfully connected with who he is.
And it's hard not to be attracted to him. He's just such a commanding presence.
A musician. He was all these things.
Yeah.
What was his band name again?
Betty Hates Everything.
Betty Hates Everything.
Yeah.
And they're still on Apple Music. You can find them everywhere.
You sure can. Yeah. I mean, how lucky are we that we get to hear his voice whenever
What
we want.
a gifted man, dude. I never knew him, and I get goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, he's something, that kid.
That's cool.
He just makes me smile.
I love that.
No, he worked with this lady who was totally into spirits and stuff, and he used to tell me all the time that he'd go and he'd had to tell spirits, don't follow me home. And he was living with me one time, and and I didn't know anything was going on. He woke up that morning and he called me and he's like, something happened at the house. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I woke up this morning, the room was ice cold and I felt like I couldn't breathe, like somebody was sitting on my chest. He's like, so when you get home tonight, we're going to try to command the spirit to leave because I have a feeling it was a spirit. And I was like, okay, you freaking weirdo. And I'd had encounters whatever, but I was like, this is next level shit. What is happening? He's like, anything religious that you have, please put it in front of my bedroom door. Don't let the kids go in there. Don't go in there. Like, whatever. Just stay far away from it. And when I get home, we'll deal with it. And I was like, all right, you crazy?
Yeah, whatever, man.
Like, I don't know what's happening, you psycho.
Yeah.
So he gets home that night and we go into his bedroom. And I've got this cute little tiny black cat and he's just sitting on my lap and everything's fine. We're just in this bedroom and he like puts his hand on the wall and he's like, whatever spirit is here, I command that you leave this house. Like, this is my sister's house and you're not welcome here. And all of a sudden, like, the lights go out. We had candles going. The candles blow out. The cat, like, arches his back and he's like,
dude, look at
like,
hell no.
freaking out.
When you told me the cat freaked out, I fucking almost jumped out of my skin.
You did. It was crazy.
I can hear Vince Lords hear it out. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
We can talk all about it. When a fucking animal loses its shit, when you told me that story up there the way you did, I was fucking freaking out.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell
you
is
set it all up
happening?
quietly, you're like, and we're sitting there, and I'm holding the cat, and I was fine until the cat's hair come up and it started doing weird shit. Like, okay, what the fuck?
Yep.
Okay, keep going.
So he tells me, like, so after all, and it was kind of like quick, like within it, like 60 seconds or so, like the cat freaks out, the candles blow out. The room got really, really cold and we could see our breath. And I was like, holy shit, what have you done to me? Like, what did you get me involved in, you jackass?
I'm out.
Yeah, like I can't do this.
I'm so out, bro.
Right? This is like Ouija board shit.
Oh my God.
You didn't blame your brother. What the fuck, man?
Dude.
Exactly.
When the cat freaks out, got me.
I was like, nope. So he tells me like the next morning that this woman came to him in his dream and she apologized. She's like, sorry, man, I didn't mean to scare you. And I was just, I was attracted to you and I followed you home. I thought it was okay. And,
Yo,
I was like,
a ghost hitting you up and being like, yo, my bad. It's hilarious.
It was
this story
so
fucked me up,
wild.
Man.
So wild.
So I'm like, you got to come tell this. I swear when we did it up there, it took 4 days to tell this. And I was like, what did you just say? Because I was so into every detail in the cold room, and then it got hot, and I'm like, okay, I can go with all this. It's fine.
Right. Well, and we talked about it at that point where you were just like, I don't know if I believe in that stuff until now.
I just wonder. But if you freak an animal out,
right,
that's fucking weird.
Yeah, and it was like
they don't know any better.
No, and it freaked me out because I was like, what is happening? And I'm like looking at him like.
And you're cool. Your brother's cool. He's like, I know, man. I'm almost there. We're getting this thing out of here.
Yeah. And he's just like, it is what it is, man. Like, and he had a friend who was like a ghost whisperer kind of a thing, and she was like giving him pointers on what to do, and so he came home totally prepared. Like he was ready. I was just like, man, you are freaking me out.
Oh, dude, I would have tripped balls.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Was it just that night was so nothing before then?
So he's had other experiences before that, and like we lived in an apartment in the Avenues and he stayed with me, and I told him, so I had seen this like guy walking around my living room, and I was like, and I was kind of walking from one room to the other, and I like walked back. I was like, what's happening? And it was just this like old guy from like the, when the Saints moved into Salt Lake, like that era, like he dressed like that. He had a top hat like that, but he would only stay in my living room. And I was just like freaked out at first, but I was like, all right, whatever.
Whoa. Freaked out at first.
Yeah, because I saw him all the time.
That's scary.
But
all
see,
the time
I've had experiences like this before. Like my parents.
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, exactly. I was like.
That scares me, Brooke. You see this is the thing.
Yeah. Well, they only show you themselves to you if they, want to.
So how did you get through that? What happened with the rest of that one?
Oh, that one was just what it was.
It just
like,
kind of.
I told Kevin that because he was sleeping in my living room at the time, and he was just like, "There's a guy in here." What?
You never had to shake him. He was just cool. He's gone.
Yeah, he was just cool.
He has a job.
He did. He just camped out there. But I told you my parents, like at their house.
Vivid. You see a vivid.
Like it was a dude.
Explain it. Like it was this greenish. I'm very, very.
No,
liberal.
it was like a man. Like just standing in my living room. Yeah, just like a dude.
Looking human. Like
yeah.
Not dusty. Like a.
No, just
person.
a guy. Just standing there. And I was like, I walked out of the bathroom or something and to go into the kitchen. And I just saw him standing in my living room. And I was like, what the hell?
You stopped though. You stopped and looked at it, and was like,
yeah. And he would come over all the time. Like but I had a living room, and then there's like this, you know, like the archway to come into a different room. Like he never crossed that. Like he just stayed in the living room.
Stand there, stare at you.
Yeah.
That's the most disturbing thing I've ever heard in my life. And the problem with it, Brooke, is that I actually believe everything you're telling me.
It was crazy.
Because you're a very believable human when you say things. It's very real.
Like I've told you about my parents. They have a little boy that lives in their attic that he plays with the toys. Like my stepmom would tell me, she's like, I've known that he's there. She lived in that house for like, oh my God, like 45 years, something crazy. And he's lived there the whole time. But as the kids had all grown up and we all moved away and it was just my parents, there's toys up in the attic that their grandkids come and play with. And she would put them away and then they'd hear stuff upstairs and she would go upstairs and the toys are strung all over the attic. And he would come down the stairs, but he wouldn't come. So my parents in their house, it's an older house and they have this door that closes off the upstairs bedrooms from the rest of the house. And he wouldn't come through. He would just stand in the stairway and just a little guy.
Did you see him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why does that disturb me? I don't understand why that's disturbing to me. It shouldn't be, right? That disturbs me. It scares me to think about it.
I have to, when I go to crazy places like that, I have to like remind myself, you can't come with me. You have to stay here. You're not welcome at my house. And they respect that for the most part.
You say they as if it's truly just a thing that's about and we talk and we do things and it's like, they understand. Mm-hmm. Like it's a thing.
My little brother has been in my living room before.
Since he's passed?
Uh-huh. My stepmom, nobody else wears her perfume. And she died a couple of years ago. I've never, ever encountered anybody else that wears her perfume. And she is regularly in the car.
I was going to say, you've told me that one time.
Mm-hmm. I regularly smell her. Where I'm
something
like,
with your daughter or something, you both were like, what's that? Like,
mm-hmm.
So you can say it alone all the time, but if someone's with you, right? And you've had something like that happen?
Yeah, all the time.
Where you can just smell perfume.
Mm-hmm. And I just know she's there. I've not ever seen her, but I can smell her.
You can see your brother.
I've only seen him once.
Wow, what was that experience?
It was right after he died, and it just about sent me to the floor. Because I was, to see him, and he's healthy, because when he died, he died of liver failure. And when he died, it was just, he didn't look like himself. He was like 80 pounds. And, and we're talking about a guy who's normally like, he's 6.5 feet tall, like, 200 pounds.
Good looking dude.
Totally, totally a good kid. And when he died, he was like 80 pounds and yellow, super jaundiced because his liver and kidneys and stuff were failing. And for me to see him just shortly after he died, and he was healthy and he looked good, and Did he say anything? Nope, he was just there.
Very calming.
Mm-hmm.
Were you sleeping or what was
No, I was just in the living room.
Just hanging out and just boom.
And he was just there. Mm-hmm. And I can feel him. Like, I haven't seen him since, but I can feel him. Like, he and I used to go to Blue October every time that they'd come to Salt Lake, which is like our favorite band. And hashtag Blue October.
Hashtag Blue October.
We used to go see them all the time. And then right after he died, they were coming to USANA, and my kids have been dying to go. And I was just like, it was too soon after he died. I didn't think I'd be able to make it.
They got one song that would probably fuck you up to listen to every time. The sad song. God, I bet that's sad to hear that.
The one that I sing at karaoke every week I go.
Do you do it?
Hate Me? Yeah.
Yeah, Hate Me. That's the one. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God. How do you keep it together for that?
It's been years. He used to run a karaoke show that I eventually took over. And I hadn't been to karaoke since he died in 2016. And then I met Paul, and he tells me that he's a karaoke guy. And I was like, no way. I used to have my own show. And he's like, come on, let's go hang out. And I was like, all right. And so that was the first time that I had been since before my little brother had died.
Did it just come right back?
Mm-hmm. It took me a minute. And I actually did Hate Me that night. And we were with some of his friends. And one of the girls that he hangs out with actually has this gift where she can, communicate with people who have passed. And I was telling her kind of what was going on. And she's like, he's here. And he's so proud of you. I was just like bawling in the bar.
Jeez, you couldn't see him though.
No, she could. And she was talking to him.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And I have another friend who does the same thing. She's an empath, but she communicates with him all the time. And she was just sitting, she's never met him. She's never even seen him before. And she described him to me. He's always with me. And she, right after that experience happened where the one lady's like, he's so proud of you. She tells me, she goes, Kevin has a message that he wants me to give to you, and I don't want to give it to you. And I was like, what does he have to say? And she's like, he told me to tell you to watch your pitch.
That's him.
Yep. And she's like, oh my God, you can't see him. He is like bent over, like laughing hysterically. And I was like, you asshole.
That's so real. Right?
Yeah.
Man, that's cool to experience that.
He comes to me in other ways.
Is that calming, or is it? That's got to be calming.
It makes me feel good because to know that other people can see him and that he's still trying to communicate with me, and he's still his, crazy ass self, and he's still, like he was the only person who ever called me sissy. And so like I would see him and he'd be like, sissy, and immediately pull me into one of his really warm hugs and stuff. Like that's what I miss those more than anything, I think, is just, like nobody's ever been able to hug me the way that he did. And she tells me all the time, she's like, he's in here. He's like, he has a message for his sissy. And I was like, fuck.
Larger than life, right? What took him how did it get into where he got? Let's get into that. What happened with life? What happened where he got down this thing?
So he had been in this band for years, and they were pretty successful as far as like a Utah band goes. They toured like crazy all over the state, and they went on this kind of longer tour across the country, and he met this guy who I immediately knew that this guy was going to be trouble. I didn't like him right out of the gate. But my first experience with him was, and so my brother was gay. He came out to me, oh my gosh, like in 2010, maybe 2011, something like that. And he told me, he's like, it was really hard for me to tell you because, your opinion matters to me more than anybody. And I wanted you to be okay with it. I wanted you to still love me, which how could you not? I was like, dude. But then I realized shortly after that some people just don't,
sure.
But I was like, he's my best friend. Like, I don't care. Like, this is awesome for me. Like, I can talk shit on guys. Like, you can give me pointers or whatever. Like, hey, that guy's flirting with you. Like, no, he's not.
That showed you his true deep mindset, right? With even doubting what you may think.
Yeah. And so it was
kind of sets the stage for it right there.
And so he meets this guy who the very first interaction that I have with him is at one of Kevin's shows. And I was excited, and he like opens his arms up to me and he's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here, blah, blah, blah. And he's hugging me. And this guy comes over and he's like looking at me like I have just, done the worst thing in the world. And I was like, what the fuck?
Fuck you.
Right. And Kevin's like, this is my sister. And he's like, oh my God. And I immediately was just like,
not good.
Don't do it. And so then like, they start dating, whatever. Then they passed gay marriage, and I was like, please tell me that you're not going to marry this guy. Yeah. And he's like, oh no, hell no. Hell no. And then I like look on Facebook, and there's like, he's like, we're getting married. And my first thing was like, what the fuck, Kevin? Like, what the fuck? You told me that you weren't going to do that. And he's like, well, I just woke up and there was a ring on my finger. I was like,
didn't want to let you down, bro.
Right. So they end up getting married, but his husband was super, super jealous, like bad jealous. And so it was starting to have a bad impact on the band where...
he was in the band as well?
No. Okay. No, he just would show up to practice or whatever. He just created a lot of drama with the band. Yeah. And they finally told him, they're like, man, you got to get this worked out. Like you get him under control and then, come back to the band. So they basically kind of, I hesitate to say they kicked him out, but they basically said, get your life together, figure out your home life, and then come back and we'll do band stuff.
So he was struggling. He was depressed. He was fighting with whatever it was.
Yep.
And started drinking like a motherfucker.
Yep. He had already been drinking a lot, but after so the band was the last thing that he had that was good in his life. Yeah. And he just fell down a rabbit hole. It was just terrible, just drinking like crazy. And I had been married to I was dating an alcoholic at the time. So I was pretty familiar with what he was doing and what was happening and stuff. And it got so bad because he was drinking like a whole jug of vodka a day. Damn. Yeah, it was nuts how much alcohol he was drinking. And then he started to get neuropathy in his feet, and he'd been to the emergency room
What's neuropathy?
So it's like pins and needles. Like, you know that feeling when your foot falls asleep?
Okay.
And it's starting to wake back up, and it's like you feel like you're being stabbed by 100 needles. Ooh. It was like that, but all the time.
So pain, constant pain.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so what was his solution to that? Because the doctors aren't going to give him medication. They don't know what's wrong with him. He drinks more, and then he starts using drugs. And he'd been into the emergency room several times, and we had seen him at Thanksgiving, and they diagnosed him with cirrhosis of the liver. And they told him that it's reversible if he stops drinking. And about that time, I was getting ready to move into my house. Like I had just, I was in the process of buying a house. And I remember telling my boyfriend at the time, I was like, I want him to come and live with us because we need to get him away from his husband because his husband's pushing. And he was really abusive. Like he knew that he was hurting, and he would just like sit down on the bed and just like start punching his legs and stuff.
Physically?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
You know, and think about that. Like your whole leg feels like it's waking up from being numb like all the time, and somebody starts hitting you. Like I was like, you jackass. And I'd already been through an abusive marriage before. So I knew what that was. I knew what it was like. And I knew that he needed to get away. And I knew that me being as codependent as I was, like, I'm going to fix this problem for you. Right. Like that motherfucker, he's not going to come to my house. Right. So we were like prepared to have him come and stay with us and everything. And he was my boyfriend at the time. He's like, I just don't know that I want that here. Like he's drinking and I'm an alcoholic, and I just don't know that, you know, we're moving into this new house in this like super upscale, like ritzy area. We don't want to bring that white trash up here. And, you know, and so I was just like, okay, all right, whatever you say. And so we move, and I remember getting a call. So we moved in just before Christmas, like the week before Christmas. And I remember getting a call like right around Valentine's Day that they had taken him to the hospital. He was in, it used to be Pioneer Valley out in West Valley. I can't remember what they call it now, but it'll always be Pioneer Valley to me. Yeah. So we go out there, and I saw him like just after Valentine's Day, and he was just, his stomach was like super distended and, you know, looked like he was pregnant. And I was just like, dude, what the hell is going on with you, man? And they're like, we're still trying to figure it out. We think that, you know, we know his liver's failing and blah, 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 but we think maybe his kidneys are starting to fail. And I was like, why the fuck is he still here? Get him to the U. You know, they have a guy who comes and does dialysis like once a week. Like this kid needs dialysis daily. Are you shitting me? So I really, really pushed. I was like, Mom, you know, and his husband had given up medical power of attorney and to my mom, which was probably not the best idea either, since I was the one handling all of the stuff. And I'm a pusher, you know, and I'm like, this isn't working for me. And so I started fighting with them. And I think that to shut me up, they were like, okay, we'll transfer him to the U. You know, but I was like, they have a whole department for this. Like, what the fuck? So they get him up there, but it was too little too late at that point. So they're like, we're hoping that it works out. You know, if we can get his kidneys to start working properly again, we can get him on the liver transplant. But, you know, they're hesitant to put him on the liver transplant list because of how much he was drinking. And so they're trying to get his kidneys to start doing what they're supposed to do. And they just weren't. And so like, it was just kind of a downhill thing. And when they moved him onto comfort care, that was really hard for us. And they had him in the SICU for a couple weeks. And I remember them telling us, so this is it. There's nothing else we can do for him. You know, he's not lucid very often. Like we're going to let him be because he signed a DNR, you know, and he had always said he wanted a DNR.
Which means for people?
Do not resuscitate.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. And my mom fought me on that. She's like, but he's my baby. And if there's something that we can do to keep him alive, let's keep him alive. And I was like, why would we do that? Like, that's not what he wants. And he's miserable. We don't know if he's in pain, you know, and so what, we're just going to keep him doped up for the rest of his.
So he wasn't able to talk or conversate.
He was to an extent. Yeah. And I worked at the U, so it was convenient for me. I was with him all the time. And I had a really cool boss who knew what was going on, and she was just like, take whatever time you need, you know. So I was with him, you know, pretty much all day. And so they tell us that there's nothing else they can do for him. And I take my kids in, and he's in the SICU. You have to be 14 years old to go in there. And he has a little boy too. And I walked in with his baby mama and my two kids. And they were like, you can't come in here. They're too little. I was like, they're saying goodbye to him. You back the fuck up. And I was like, if you have a problem with it, bring up security. And so we walked in. So
a lot of them.
Yeah, because it's going to take an army to get me the hell out of here. Good luck. I will take, you guys can fire me. I don't fucking care.
Fuck, I feel it.
They're going to say goodbye to him because they're not going to be able to say goodbye to him at any other point because they've got him still on dialysis at this point. So after dialysis, he's pretty lucid. So, and my kids, their last memory of him was him singing. And it's funny because even now we still can't listen to that song. And the song that he sang was When I Get Where I'm Going by Brad Paisley and Dolly Parton. Every time it comes on, I know it's him. And I'm like, I can't do it, bud. I can't.
Change it.
I can't listen to it. And my kids are still that same way. You know, like that's the last song that he ever sang was, you know, that song. And that was really hard for them to say goodbye and all that.
How many years did it take to get from there to there
So
how impactful this can be for people to hear that really struggle with this. It's not a fucking joke.
No, it's not at all. He was first diagnosed with liver failure, cirrhosis, like Thanksgiving of 2016. And he passed away at the beginning of March of 2017.
And just heavy alcohol abuse up until that point. It doesn't take long.
No.
It really doesn't, man.
No. And to be told at Thanksgiving that it's reversible, that he just needs to stop drinking. And so he was at the very, very beginning stages of it, you know, and that if he had stopped at that point, like he could still be here.
God.
Yeah.
We really, maybe you want to touch on this, or maybe not, but what was his mindset during that time? Like when Thanksgiving comes around and they're like, hey, if you stop drinking, was he like about it? Or was he just like, I can't do this? Where was his mind during this time?
So he spent a lot of time talking to me because I was dating an alcoholic, so I was familiar with how to help him detox and things like that. And he was trying to get out of his relationship. He recognized that his husband was, you know, a pusher of drugs and alcohol, and so he was trying to get out of it. And so I think that there was a certain point where he was like, I want help. If I can fix this, then I want help. And it was shortly like after Thanksgiving. You know, and he's been to the emergency room like countless times. And I finally was just like, this is ridiculous. Like he's in so much pain. Like we got to do something. So I started Googling like essential oil recipes to help with his neuropathy. And I found one and I gave it to him and he started to finally feel some relief. And so I think at that point he was like, I can beat this, you know, but then they just started giving him drugs. Like I don't even know what they were giving him. Like friends had prescription medications that they weren't using and they're like, here, Kevin, we got this, you know, Caleb, we can give him this. And so we don't even know what he was taking.
Enabled like crazy though. Even when he was healthy, man, just totally enabled all the time.
Yep.
With no support to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I, there's a part of me that feels really guilty that I didn't fight my ex more, you know, at that time and just be like, I don't care. I don't give a shit what you think. I don't care. I don't care what people think. That's just who I am. I just don't care. If my new neighbors in this new upscale fancy neighborhood are going to judge me because I have my little brother coming to live with me, fuck them.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a part of me that is just like, I wish that I would have fought him on it more because it wasn't until February that he was finally like, let's set up the bedroom for him. And at that point he checked into the hospital like right around Valentine's Day and he never checked out.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Throughout the years, did he ever attempt to get help or try to go really attack it at all? Or was it just a constant, steady just dive?
So I think that he drank a lot socially.
Yeah.
You know, and given that he was an entertainer, he's socially, you know, out all the time. Yeah. But I think it got to a place for him where he would drink himself to sleep at night to kind of, because he also had ADHD. And so to slow his brain down and stuff, he'd just drink himself to sleep. But then I think that being in pain, he just, you know, like I've been to the doctor. They tell me that they're not going to let me go to the ER anymore, you know, but he's going to like privately funded hospitals. And I was like, you jackass, you got to go to the U, man.
And he never did like a program or anything like this trying to get out of it?
No.
So I was an ex-heavy drinker as well. I know the feeling. I know the pain. I know from my experience of it, I don't know about alcoholic. I don't know about these words.
Yeah.
I would drink a half a gallon of whiskey every 2 days.
Wow.
So it's pretty heavy too. Mm-hmm. But I was incredibly functioning, just unbelievably could just do my thing, right? And what I remember, I wonder if I could talk to this guy, we're scared. I say we are scared.
Yeah.
Because you feel so sick without it. That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
What you need to do is be sick and just go through this, right? And it's such a broken thing in our mind of, but I'll do it in a minute. I'll do it in a minute. And it's just one more quick drink. And you never ever catch it just right. It's such a bizarre, always sick feeling. Did he quit eating? I quit eating there for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, he was drinking everything.
It makes you sick to eat. It actually makes you'll vomit if you eat. It's bizarre. Your sugar's too high, right?
Yeah. My ex-husband was like that.
Man.
But he wasn't a functioning alcoholic. He'd go on benders where he'd be gone for like a weekend or even longer. There were times where he would just be out of it for a week or more.
And then come back and be okay. See, that's such a bizarre. We all do it so differently. But it was just a constant, steady hell buzz, but nobody knew.
Right. Well, and he used to drink until he'd pass out, and then he'd wake up and he'd start the whole cycle all over again. He actually moved out. We lived together for quite a while, and he moved out into an apartment. And I was certain that I was going to have to call one of his brothers to let us into the house because he wasn't responding. It had been like a week and a half. I was like, we're going to have to bring the ambulance in here, and we're going to be taking him out in a black bag,
Looking back now, right? I have my belief, and I think emotion will change everything, the way we react to things. But how do you handle an alcoholic? How do you really do that? What's your opinion? What you wanted and wished you could have done aren't going to work. But seriously, what do you feel like if you seriously could have done something, it would have, obviously anything you do would have changed something, right?
Right.
What is the healthiest thing, do you think, for people in that position? To be drugged to help, to be allowed to hit the bottom they need to actually come up and fix? How do we do this, right?
Right.
I decided to do it on my own. I had a job. I kept my things floating. I was fine.
Right.
I'm fine. That was me. I just was. But I'm like, I'm done. And then I think until a human decides that, it's not going to work, right? But maybe where he was at with abuse and with the guy he was with and the circumstance he was in, how does somebody handle that, man? If somebody's listening to this and hears that, how the hell do they start?
I think,
you know what I mean?
Right. I think knowing that, people love you, I mean, I would have moved heaven and hell for that kid if he'd asked me, I got you, man. But I'm also extremely codependent. And with my ex-husband, I was like, you don't get to drink anymore. I just didn't give him an option. And so then it's like, and it worked for him, but other people it may not work for, and it was the same thing. And so at the time that Kevin was really sick, my ex-husband had been sober for about a year. And I was like, all right, I fixed him. I got this. I'm like, Kevin, come and stay with me, man.
Right.
We'll get you sober. But I think you have to want it. I think that you have to want to live. And I don't think he realized what it was doing to him. I don't think that he realized how bad it had gotten. I don't think anybody realized, and I had kind of had my suspicions about it for a couple of years because, he would drink a lot. And, but I don't think that you really realize how bad it is until it is at that point. And I wish that he would have said to me, I need help, And so I think that if that you have family that loves you, I don't care, and it would be the same thing with my kids. Like I got you,
Those powerful words, I think it really grabs that. Just say that you need help. And actually somebody may truly be there to help you. The help may not be what you want to hear.
Right.
If you ask for this help, it's going to be much different than if you ask for mom's help or whatever help. So I think that's the answer to that question was ask for help.
Right.
If you need help, ask for help, right?
Right.
You're not a tough guy. You're not a tough girl. You're not anything. You're not hiding.
Right.
You're not hiding shit. Everybody sees it.
Right.
Say something. Because we all know, we all can feel it, and people that have been there know it. I can visualize it in people even to this day. I can fuck, man.
Yeah.
Not that I'm see it, but I'm like, man, that dude needs fucking help. Yeah. You can feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
You just see it in their eyes, but if you imply this help, it's counterproductive.
Totally. If they're not ready to hear it.
And they resist you. Like, fuck you. But they know it, right? So do you plant that seed, right? Kevin, God damn it. I want to help you, man. You plant that and then just kind of back up and see what happens. Is that the idea, right? Is that...
Yeah. I mean, And like I said,
I'm him there. You can't do it.
Oh, you can sure try.
Fuck it. Just,
but it's like the same, it's that saying, like,
it.
You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Right.
And it's like, like I said, codependent, man. Like, I've got all the answers. I can fix you. Like,
it's real though. It's real.
It totally is.
At some point, it's like, you have to make your fucking decision. I'm here to help you. Yep. I am not going to go any further with this.
Yep.
I love you. I'm done.
Yep.
Till you're ready. I'm done.
Yeah. And that's the hardest decision to do, and, I remember it just broke my heart because they didn't have money and they needed more alcohol. They were out and he was just like, I'm in so much pain, and I want it to go away. He's like, can you please give me alcohol? Can you please go to the liquor store? And and it broke my heart to tell him no.
You said no. Good for you.
Yeah. And it's like,
you, Brooke. That's good.
The worst feeling in the world to have him crying,
right.
And I mean, I raised this kid. He's like my kid, and as a parent, it's like to say that to your kid, to tell your kid no, and to know that I'm doing this because I love you. Like, that's the worst feeling in the world, because you want to give them everything, and it crushed me, and I was just like, I can't because I love you.
I think that's solid, man.
It's hard. Yeah. But you have to want it. It has to be a change that you want to make because it's hard. It's
a disease that affects everybody, right? Not just the person doing it. And it's we put ourselves there though, and then we want everybody to help us get out of there.
Right.
And it doesn't work like that. You put yourself there, eventually you're going to have to come back out of there all alone.
Right.
And I applaud you for doing that. That's, let them, they got to hit it, man.
And that's hard.
And then let's get you up. I'm here to help you get up.
Right.
But you're going to the bottom of this fucker.
Yeah.
And I'm going to help you. I'm right here.
Well, and for me, it was like, I never expected anybody to help me. Like, I'm very independent. I made this bed. I'm going to fix it, like whatever. But I'm not that way with other people. Like, it's hard for me to have that mentality. Like, you can do this, blah, 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 And if you had asked me, if you had asked me what my opinion was on alcoholics or, drinking or whatever before, dating my ex-husband and then even my brother, I would have been like, oh, you can just stop. It's easy, but it's not. You can't just, it's not easy because it is a disease, and before all of this happened, I was just like, I don't know if I buy into all of that, all that nonsense. Like, it's a disease. Like, no, AIDS is a disease. Cancer is a disease. Like, drinking is not a disease, but having watched it like firsthand twice, with two different people, it is. And it is a mind fuck. It controls you.
It's bizarre. It's a weird. I talked to a doctor one time we ran into a doctor, four-wheeling in a weird way. It's a long story, but we were talking about it, and it's actually the only substance on the planet that truly overdosing from it will kill you.
Yeah.
Heroin will not kill you on an overdose, nor none of the other ones.
It's crazy.
It's brutal. It's painful. It's sweat. Yeah, it's shit.
It's not wonderful.
It's horrible, but you will not die. The chances of you dying from it are zero. Alcohol, the probability of you dying from an overdose is actually 100%.
Yeah.
You will die. It's that your heart will stop. You go into this heart thing, and I just like, man, that's powerful. Like,
yeah.
Why is this such a thing we don't do and talk about? I think it needs to be talked about, and I've been
absolutely.
I've been there. I never ever got to this. It wasn't an every day, like all day at work kind of thing. But if I wasn't working, I was drinking.
Yeah.
And I think this is powerful. I wanted to share this with the world, man. Whoever listens to this, it's
right.
Own it, man. Look around, and 99% of all of us, I'll go in there. We want to change it. Mm-hmm. We just don't know how to change it.
Right.
And that's okay.
Well, and it's one day at a time, man. And sometimes it's just 1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. As long as you're making an effort to put one foot in front of the other, and know that you're not alone.
I think you said it even best. It's like, say something.
Yeah.
Because we all hide from it.
Yeah.
I'm good, man. I don't got a problem.
Well, I think there's a
first
shame
thing with alcohol every time. It's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
If everyone's high, it's like, dude, I'm fucking stoned as fuck. If you're drunk, you're like, no, man, I'm good.
Right.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do we do that? It's fucking weird.
Yeah,
we hide that one.
I have a friend who said,
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Right. I have a friend who drinks a bunch of beer and stuff, whatever. And he's like, I'm not an alcoholic unless I admit it.
I think that sets the stage.
Right.
It's like you're talking about it and thinking about it. I understand I understand the sickness. I feel it. It's in my family very, very deep. It's in all of our families.
Sure.
But when it grabs you, man, it is scary as fuck. And it just happens so quickly.
Right.
And weirdly where it's such a sad thing, man. It really is. And it's a beautiful thing. Alcohol, there's nothing wrong with alcohol.
No, absolutely
alcohol
not.
doesn't kill anybody.
Mm-mm.
We're doing it.
Yep.
It kills you just as
I mean,
much
I
as
enjoy
that
a
gun
beer.
Right there's shooting at you.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that, right?
Mm-mm.
I have nothing against it. It's just
you have to be aware, you know, like my dad battled with pain medication addiction. And so having that in my family, like Kevin dealing with my ex-husband as an alcoholic, like I'm very, very careful about, you know, watching. I don't take pain medication. Like I do enjoy drinking a beer. I go out with my friends all the time and have a beer, but that's it, a beer. Like I rarely will let myself drink anything more than that because I don't want to lose control. And maybe that's because I'm a control freak, you know, because I know that about myself. But, and so there's like this element of, I don't want to ever be in a position where somebody's going to be like, do you know what you did last night? No.
every
like,
day.
Yeah. Like I don't want to ever lose that control, you know, but, with my first husband, his siblings used to drive their kid drunk regularly. They'd go to parties all the time. And I was pregnant and I was like, can I just drive your daughter home, please? Could she ride with me? Like it freaked me out. Like as a parent, like I don't ever want to put myself in a position where I can't take care of my kid. You know, like what happens if she falls down the stairs or whatever and I have to take her to the emergency room, but I'm drunk off my ass? Like, how do I get her there safely?
Us people, they don't think about this.
Right.
Everybody in their life is there to help them.
Right.
See what I mean? It's like rarely do you find just a drunk, somebody losing it all alone. Rarely. I think there's a support system with this person that will keep going and they keep operating.
Yeah, somebody's going to help me.
See what I mean?
Take care of it, fix me.
Very much that, I think. There's more of that, I think, than the other.
Yeah.
Of course, there's all forms of it, but I think it's a definite one where the more we know people will help, the more we're going to even hit it.
Yeah.
And then hide it. And it's such a creepy disease. How's this kid doing now? Did you say he has a child, right? You say he had a child, Kevin?
Yeah.
How old is?
So he is.
Or do you know much about him? Or
I see him every now and then. I haven't seen him since for a little while after. But Zeke is.
Zeke. It's a dope name.
He's so Ezekiel Michael Hill is his name. He's a stud.
That's a rock star name to give your kid.
Totally.
How old is he?
I think he's 13.
Hell yeah.
I think he just turned 13.
Doing okay to your knowledge then.
Yeah. He lives in Colorado with his mom, who's doing a bang up job with him. Like she just is crushing it as a mom.
What is she doing?
She's just, there.
She's going.
I mean, I seriously could not have asked for a better mom for, my brother's kid. I really couldn't. She has just been phenomenal.
That's cool.
She's awesome. She just does a great job. And he's so healthy and adorable, and he looks just like my brother. And like every time I see pictures of him on Facebook, I just cry because, I'm just like, oh. And it's funny because right before my brother died, like we're planning his funeral. Like he knows he's going to die. Like this is the end for him. And I was like, all right, well, while you're lucid, let's have these conversations. And nobody else wanted to have them. And so I'm like, all right, well, he's like, I want to be cremated. And he was afraid of the dark. So, my dad desperately wanted to bury him down where he lives. And I was like, we're not going to do that because he's alone in the dark. He will lose his fucking mind. We're not doing that. He wants to be cremated. He wanted like X, Y, and Z to have some of his ashes and, different people, different things kind of a thing. And I got some sympathy cards or like, I'm sorry cards kind of a thing for him to sign for both of my parents and his son. And I was like, what do you want to say in these cards? And he told me what he wanted to say and I wrote it in there. And he signed his son's. So it was the last card he signed and you can't even tell, but he said, I love you, Dad. And so after he died, I was like, I don't just want to give my parents and my nephew these cards. Like I want to get a gift from them. Like I just feel like there's something missing. And so there was some things that like just totally popped out in my brain. Like this is what he wants to give him. So with my nephew, my brother was a bowler. He could have gone pro with it. He was so good. And they had given him, my nephew Zeke, his his bowling ball. It was like way too big for my nephew to be using at the time. And unbeknownst to me, like I go and pick him out his own bowling ball. And the lady who ran the bowling alley was like best friends with him as well. And he'd worked for her for years. And the ball shows up and she looks at me and she just starts crying. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And she's like, this is his ball. It matches his ball perfectly. And he's like, she's crying. I didn't know.
Heavy.
Like, so he has a ball that he can use at his age that matches identically to his dad's ball. And so shortly after, like we had him come and visit us and we took him bowling so we could give him this ball from his dad. And we took him to the, I can't remember what the lane is, in Salt Lake. I want to say like Bonneville, but I don't think that's right. It's
Bonwood.
Like, what?
Bonwood.
Yes, them.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Bonwood because they hooked us up. It was so sweet. They drilled the holes for him and I told him who he was. Everybody knows Kevin. And he was like,
he was that badass of a bowler. Like, it's fucking cool.
Yep. And so
I love that legacy.
It's so cool.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Everybody knew Kevin. But he wrote in this bowling ball, I love you, love dad. And like carved it into the bowling ball, like right where his fingers go and stuff. And he saw that and he just like sobbed. It was like the best gift ever. And I was like, I'd never even thought about that. Like, why would I give this kid a bowling ball? Like what? And it was just like, almost like he was harping on me, like, give my son the bowling ball. God damn it, Brooke, give my son the bowling ball. Yeah, and I was like, all right. So I'm looking through the magazine, I pick it out, and it's like identical to the one that he had. And then that whole experience, it was just crazy.
All that stuff gets crazy.
Yeah.
And then your deer story.
Oh my God.
You grow up terrified of deer.
Terrified.
Absolutely mortifiedly, scarily,
like,
whatever.
Freaked out.
A phobia of deer.
Yeah.
Tell it.
So my dad got transferred to the Gunnison prison right after it was built. So I was like in 5th grade, I think, 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. And like one of our first nights that we've moved into this house, like we have these floor to ceiling windows, like wall to wall, like on both sides of the house. Super creepy. Like I grew up in Kearns. Like, so now we moved down to the middle of nowhere and
glass house.
Like what? No. So my dad wakes us up. It's like the middle of the night. And I'm like 10. So it's like midnight, whatever. And he's like, you guys got to come see this. And he like whips open the curtains and there's like 4 deer standing on the on our front lawn. I was like, and immediately run back upstairs. And then shortly after that, like my dad goes hunting with some friends, like, and then we have deer like hanging in our backyard. So I'm freaked out. For no reason. No reason. He left me. We were riding our bikes across the town and there's like 3 streetlights in this little podunk town.
Oh yeah.
And he like takes a left turn and I keep going and it was dark and he knew what he was doing. He did it on purpose because he was being a dick. And I was like, and he knew that I was now freaked out by deer because of this whole experience. And I was like, and so he like thought that was hilarious.
I don't know why they scared you so bad.
I don't know. And my grandpa was a hunter and there was like, I grew up with one on the wall at my grandparents' house. So it was like, whatever.
It just mortified you.
Like this freaked me out. They're like, I see you.
Oh yeah. They're fucking weird.
Right.
I feel it.
Right. So it was like this big thing, like for me growing up my whole life. So my dad, we leave that house in Mayfield. My dad gets married, moves to Axtell, and they're out on the front lawn there. And he's like, you need to take the garbage out. And I was like, nope, because I know they're out there. They're waiting for me. They're going to get me. And like, after I graduated from high school, my parents for graduation, they got me some, concert tickets to Backstreet Boys, which was, all the rage.
Hell yeah.
BSB, man.
Backstreet's back again.
Hell yeah. And I was on my way home and it was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I was cruising. So I come from Salt Lake. I'm cruising. We have to go through Nephi and Levan and stuff. And I was like, and I knew that coming from Nephi into Levan, like there's a buttload of deer. And I was like, I got this. I'm like psyching myself up. Like I can do this. I got this. It's okay. And right as I'm pulling into Nephi, I see these lights and I was like waiting for the car to approach me and the car never approached me. And I approach it and I realize it's a deer and that was all it took for me. And I'm driving home like from Levan into where we live, which is even worse with deer. And I'm going like 30 to 40 miles an hour, and the speed limit is like 65. It's going to take me like 12 years to get home. And my brother, who had been staying at a friend's house in Nephi, like comes flying up behind me, and he sees that there's this car like freaked out, and he like pulls up to the side of me, and he sees that it's me, and he goes like this. And so I like followed him because I was like, okay, I'm good now.
We got a deer screen.
Yes, I'm saved. It's okay. And so I'm just always been freaked out by them. I don't want to hit one. Like I was with my dad when he hit one, and I was just, they freak me out.
It's a phobia for you.
Totally. Like scares the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. So my brothers have always teased me about this. They think it's hilarious. So the night that Kevin dies, we're on our way home. It's like 2:00 in the morning. We've just dropped my dad off at his hotel. We're coming home, and I live in a neighborhood where there are deer. I've seen them, like whatever. So we're coming down the hill, and my husband stops, and he's like, I was doing something on my phone. I'm just like, do whatever, you know. And he's like, you got to look at this. And I look up, and there are 2 deer standing in the road in front of us. One like runs away, and the other one just stands there and stares at me for several minutes. And I knew immediately it was my little brother. Like, I got you. Mm-hmm. I'm still here.
Totally.
I'm totally going to fuck with you for the rest of your life. I was like, God damn it. So it's like this thing now. Sure. Like on his birthday, you know, he's like, there's deer at Boondocks. And I was just like, I've never seen them.
Which isn't,
like,
that's not a...
Yeah, like I've never seen it there, like whatever.
Yeah.
And it was his birthday, and it was a hard day for us, you know, for me and my daughter, and we're leaving, and there's this deer like standing right by my dad's truck that I was borrowing for a while.
It's not a normal thing.
No,
right
and
there.
he's just like staring at us, and I was like, oh my God, Aiden, look.
It's fucking weird.
Right? It happens all the time. And it's like the songs will change, you know, like crazy shit like that happens to me all the time.
So you confront this fear.
I did.
To pull this in even harder. And we get this call, and it's, we've sold the sculpture. The sculpture got sold. I'm like, cool. Everybody that knows it knows the sculpture, the deer sculpture. Mm-hmm. Who's getting it? Who's coming to get Brooke? Bought my fucking deer sculpture. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Like, that's going in.
Yeah.
She comes and buys
yeah.
To just own it, to go through this, right?
Yep. Erica was like, I was surprised.
You can't even be near anything about these things, and you come buy a dead live skull from me. That's, I was so moved by that.
Right? It was so funny because Aiden was she was in Las Vegas during that time with some of her friends, and she's like on social media, and she's like, oh, they sold the deer. To my mom?
Dude, she fucking bought that for me. I was so excited. I've never been so liberated. I'm like, that's fucking gangster. And then she quits her job. Now she's coaching.
Hey.
The world is all yours, man.
Totally. And I thank you for that, because I was like, why not, man?
That freaked me out. I could not believe you did that.
Surprise.
How real is it just to go right at whatever it is that's bugging you, man, right? Go at it. Have right into the middle of it. Get at it.
Well, who's gonna fix it? Who's gonna take care of it for me?
It's supposed to be us.
I have to fix it. So why be afraid of it? Like, let's do this.
I think if I'm 10 and I rip the curtain, your dad shows me deer, that might freak me out too. Right there. What the hell?
And you're a kid.
No way to process this.
No. Freaked me out. My parents still think it's so funny.
That is funny.
I sent the picture to my dad. I was like, look what I bought. He's like, are you shitting me?
I think it's cool to not even be able to get near one and buy one of them things. I thought that was neat.
It's just sitting in my living room right now. My kids, every time they walk by it, they're like,
you're owning that. You're owning it all the time.
I even pet it sometimes. I'm like,
you're touching it even. Now we're getting there.
Hell yeah.
What's your next move?
I don't know. I just quit my job today, so. Today.
Congratulations.
I handed him the notice.
Are you so excited?
I am.
Did you say fuck you to anybody?
Not yet. Although I will have to tell you, one of my really good friends who works with me, she was just like, there was something that happened a couple months ago. No, not a couple weeks ago. And she was just like, how are you showing back up to work tomorrow? I was like, because I got bills to pay. You know, and there's like this, almost this sense of like ownership, you know, like loyalty kind of thing for me, where I'm just like, I can't screw these kids over. They need whatever it is that I can give to them. And then I was just like, you know what? Yes, they do. But you know what? My kids need the best version of me too. And I need the best version of me. And this isn't the best version of me. Like, I'm miserable. I'm worn out all the time. I'm, constantly being accused of things that I'm not guilty of or that are completely out of my control. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm done. Today, I was just like, nope, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to walk away.
That's why I'm so into telling all that story. The world, we all out of necessity feel that that's a thing we must do and be unhappy at work and it's not a thing. Do what you want to do, and that will never be a problem.
Right.
Right.
I told my friend.
Out of loyalty and out of respect, you keep doing it. In fulfillment of your contract, you owe nobody anything other than if you're happy, then we move from there forward.
Right.
And we put that at the last all the time.
Right.
I'm not happy. It bleeds into everything.
Right. Well, and so she's like one of my best friends, and she's been waiting for me to do this for a while. And I told her, I was like, I don't even have a backup plan right now. What the fuck did I just do?
Best move you ever made.
Yeah. Jumped, man. That's what I did.
Absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Now life happens.
So excited.
That's buying the deer.
Totally.
That's it. That's just like going at something, even with some people hate it. No plan. No plan can be a really good plan.
Scares the shit out of me because I'm not that person. I've never been that person. Like, never. So this is like exciting for me.
I think
let's do it.
That you are a very unique person. And we didn't even unlock the depth of all them, how you told them stories. It freaked me out, man. The way you did all that was really, really cool.
Well, that was when you were, so it all started because you were doing the work on my back.
Yeah.
And you're like, do you want me to stop? Because we were talking about Kevin.
Yeah.
And you're like, do you want me to stop? And I was like, no. Just keep going.
Let me process this.
I'm pretty sure there was like snot on the floor, tears. Like,
I wished I could capture these moments. And I don't wish anything. If people could feel what I feel doing this stuff with people, it just empowers everything about I just love it, man.
Right.
But that would make it unspecial if everybody else could feel it, right? So I'll just use little pieces of stuff here and there to share to the world.
Right.
But I love those moments that happens every day.
Right. Well, and for me and you, like, just that instant connection that we had, where I'm just like, this is what I want. Do you have a font? Nope.
Let's figure it out.
Just do it.
I just quit my job. Here we go.
It was great.
There's so much beauty right there, I think, in life, just to figure it out.
Yeah.
Just go figure it out. Quit planning everything out. Let's just have at this.
It's scary.
It is scary.
It's okay.
That's why it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's worth every move.
Totally. Yeah. Yep.
Do we have anything to add to that?
I think you guys did a good job.
I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what your whole future holds. It's yours anyways, right?
I'm excited.
It doesn't matter if you work at Burger King. It doesn't matter where you go. You're always going to rise to the top of what you do.
Yeah.
That's why I was moved by all of your stories and stuff. I think you got everything going, man.
It's been a long time coming.
For sure.
A lot of work.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah. Like that would be my takeaway for everybody. Like, you got to put in the work, man. You got to invest in yourself.
And is it to get uncomfortable? Is it safe to say that?
Yeah, without question.
Let's be uncomfortable as it gets.
That it's okay. It's okay to take care of your needs first. It's like when you're in an airplane. They want you to put your mask on before you put on anybody else's. Why? You can't save people if you're dead. If you're not taking care of yourself, how are you going to help anybody else?
And the flip side of that with the parenting thing, right? It's like, well, I got to hurry. If you've never been a parent, obviously, I got to put their mask on first. What if you pass out before any of this even happens?
Right.
Put your fucking mask on, and we can help everybody around us. Don't rush to help Kevin. If you're so busted, you're going to make it worse. Right? Be healthy with you, understand you, and you can let things be real and whatever they need to be.
Yep. And that was a really hard lesson for me because
oh my God.
I was broken for a really long time after that. Where, I was living to take care of my kids, that's all. I didn't know what it was to take care of myself. I took my first bath in years, bath with a bath bomb, totally could take care of me,
Pamper.
Candles and music and the whole 9 yards for the first time, 2 months ago. It was amazing.
All your firsts. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
You can feel it coming out of you. It's awesome.
It's exciting. A lot of changes. If not me, then who?
they're going to keep coming too.
Totally. I'm so excited.
And nobody's steering the ship, bro.
I know.
We steer our own ship.
It's amazing.
So everybody do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do? Do it.
Exactly.
Quit talking about it.
Right.
And if they need help, they can come here and we can help them.
Yep. You know, like, hey, Junior, I signed up for this course. Like, did it in a weekend. What?
Okay, I guess we got to find some work.
It was amazing. I was like, let's do it, man.
Well, I'm so thankful for everything, and I'm thank you for sharing all your cool story. That's pretty gnarly. I hope everybody can take from all of that, man.
Seriously.
Sadness is a sad thing.
It is.
It's pain is inevitable and suffering is a choice.
Yep.
It's gonna happen, but we can get through it, right?
That's right. Ask for help.
Ask for help.
It's okay.
Especially when you don't want to ask for help.
Yeah. It's not weakness.
Totally.
Makes you stronger.
I feel that. I feel that for sure.
Yep.
Thank you, Brooke.
Of course.
I appreciate everything you do.
I'm happy to be here. I love you guys.
We love you too.
Aw.
Trey, do you have any questions?
No,
Brooke?
I'm good.
Everybody, love Brooke. Brooke loves you. We love you.
Of course.
And be nice to each other, damn it. We love you guys.